What is going on, guys? This is the first episode of the BrotherlyJawn show. I'm Alex Baratis. I don't know. I'm just trying out something new here. Just going to look to go talk about Philly sports. It's an interesting time here in Philadelphia. Well, I'm at Penn State right now, but either way. Eagles kind of going in the shitter. Phillies season just absolutely blew up in our faces. Flyers are on the come up. Sixers, I don't know what to make of them. But, let's just get into things. I hate these little small talk bullshit stuff. But this is supposed to be a mainly Eagles channel once a week. But, with the Philly season just ending, figured what the hell? Let's just get into it. I got a lot of stuff to say. So, Game 4, brutal ending to a long Phillies season. We didn't show up. It's that simple. Bats needed to show up. They couldn't show up. Bullpen needed to show up. Didn't show up. Suarez, he did what he did. I've seen a lot of hate on Suarez over the game. I don't think it's warranted. Yeah, he got in some jams, but he got out of it every single time. He let up no runs. I don't know what else you want more from a guy in a must-win Game 4 to try and force a Game 5 than he threw no runs. Now, length, yeah, I guess you could say you wanted him to go more, but I don't think you can't ask much more than what he did. 4 hits is where I see the big problem here, though, because as we saw in Game 1, you could throw a gem from Zach Wheeler, but if you don't get the bat support, it's all for shit. So the only run we got in this game, dribbler from Alec Boehm, who fucking sucked this entire series, which, isn't much to – I'm not pulling out anything new there. That was pretty obvious. There's just too much money being spent on this team, especially the offense, who, best offense in the league throughout, the first half of the season, just going to waste in the end there. But we saw this coming. We saw this last year. We saw it the year before. It's the same team. When I think about it, we got worse. We lost Rhys Hoskins after last year. So, 2 years ago, he didn't play last year, but still. This team didn't get better. This team got worse. And they showed that. This team didn't have what it took. All right, but I'm digressing here. Game 4, you had it. You had the game. Suarez put you up in a position. The bats couldn't get it done. That's what the moral of this series came down to. The Philadelphia Phillies lineup failed this city and failed this team. Trey Turner, where the hell did you go? You're getting paid all this money. Where the fuck did you go? You vanished. You didn't show up when it needed to. Castellanos, I thought I was going to be saying the same stuff about you, but you showed up for some reason, somehow. You were the one to show up. Bryce Harper, you showed up too. I saw a lot of hate on him, but it was just because we're used to a God-tier type of performance from Bryce Harper. He didn't give that to us, but he showed. He didn't play bad. He didn't give you he gave you a moment. He didn't give you the moment, though. He gave you a moment in Game 2 in Philly, and then followed by Castellanos. But Schwarber, you gave us one thing, and that turned out to not help us at all because the bullpen blew, and the rest of the team couldn't do anything in that first game. Brandon Marsh somehow got you a hit. The bottom of the order, too. We're not saying anything new here. Johan Rojas, Weston Wilson, Brandon Marsh. That being the bottom of your order is not going to win you a World Series championship. I don't think that's rocket science to even say that either. I think that's just plain and basic, any GM in the league, you could look at it and say, so what? They don't put Rojas out there. All right, they'll put Marsh out there. He can't hit one side of the plate. Weston Wilson will try out there. Weston Wilson's not a playoff type of player. I was at the game when he hit the cycle. I was cheering my ass off for Weston Wilson. Don't get me wrong. I love seeing the guy out there last night just to maybe find us a spark, but he didn't. He didn't give a shit. And that's expected. It's not Topper's fault. He didn't know what else to do. But Austin Hayes blew. I'm sick of Hayes. The deadline came around, and when I saw that Austin Hayes was our big pickup, other than Estevez, which I actually didn't. I didn't hate Estevez. I think he got put into some real shit situations in this postseason. He only pitcher to give you a 1-2-3 inning too, so that's kind of something. But Hayes being your big deadline acquisition, he made, what was it, 1 or 2 at bats in this series. Well, I wouldn't have played him anymore, so that's that. But this team was just so frustrating because you know what we're capable of. But this is also what we were capable of, too, at the exact same time. You have the highs and lows of this Phillies team. It's the exact same shit we've seen for 3 seasons now. We were pepper hot in the first run. We made it to the World Series. What happened? We get no hit. All right, let's run it back. Let's keep the same team. I'm with that because what we had there was great. Hoskins goes down spring training. That's unfortunate. This team gets you to the National League Championship Series, games 6 and 7 at home. You can't get it done. The bats can't get it done. We bring the same lineup, the exact same lineup minus a few minor additions or tweaks at the end of the bottom of the order, that's speaking. And now we just digress and get booted by our rivals, the New York Mets, in 4 games in the NLDS. It's just brutal man ownership. I was talking to my dad, my boss. At the deadline, there was so much hope and prayers that Dombrowski was going to do something. And he came up short. He came up as short as you possibly could for a team in the position that we were in. This team needed a guy like Brent Rooker, who I won't lie. I'll be the first to say I had no idea who Rooker was until that series when they came to Philly and he sent that nuke over the batter's eye. And I think he had another one that game too. But either way, I got put on the he got put on the map for me that series. That's the guy. Not that he would have won us, he might have won us a game, which came down to it. It was important. But you needed – the outfield is just so bad. We're Johan Rojas, Brandon Marsh, Hayes, Wilson. That can't be a rotation for a World Series winning team. I feel like I'm repeating what every other Phillies fan's saying, but, if that's what we're repeating, if we can fucking see it, how can a guy this is what he's paid to do, millions of dollars to do? How do you not address this? The bullpen, the bullpen was shut down all season. You still could have added. We did add with Estevez and Tanner Banks. Tanner Banks could go rot in a river for all I care. He didn't do shit. But you got to bring in more than what you brought. And it showed. Dombrowski, I said all along after the deadline, if we don't win this year, and I don't think we will because up to the deadline, we hadn't shown other than the first half of the year that we could win. And I said if we didn't win, here we are, October 10th, 24 hours maybe after getting eliminated. Dombrowski he lost this for us. You could say as much as you want about about this team not showing up, but Dombrowski, you should have gave us more. You should have gave us more than what we had. Because we didn't have much. there was just a lot that you could have went out for. You could have made moves. Now, granted, the Aiden Miller thing, him breaking his hand right before the deadline, that sucks. I think, I'm saying I think we would have went for a lot of guys, but we didn't. But I think Miller would have been a real interesting cat to go after, and I think we would have if he didn't get hurt. But you can't come up quiet. Dombrowski came up as quiet as the bats did in the postseason as he did at the deadline. Dave Dombrowski should have done more for this team, and we all knew it. We just didn't want to believe it. We thought, I was a believer too. I thought, JT said it in his post-game press conference last night. We thought when the lights shined, we thought we were going to show up. We were hoping we were going to show up, and I thought so too, because that's what we did the first run. We trickled into the playoffs, somehow got in, and then, boom, get to the World Series, just get blistering hot and get in. I was praying for that time to happen, but then game one we should have known it was over in game one. Game two, they gave us a glimpse of what everyone was hoping for. Game two, they edged us. I'll be straight up. They showed you what they could be capable of. But then they just showed us what they really were for the rest of the 3 games. A not great baseball team. They're a good baseball team. They're not a great baseball team. As a series as a whole, though, I just don't think they wanted it more than us. They wanted they got the whole grimace thing, I don't think they gave a shit about Red October either. I think if this went to 5, everyone's saying, "Oh, they're going back to that hostile crowd." And I don't think the Mets gave a shit. They already beat us once. They could have beat us twice. That game, somehow we came back. Game 2, they could have beaten us twice. We've shown in prior years, D-back series, we're not great at home in the playoffs. We have a great crowd at home. Crowd does their part. Crowd's fucking on fire. But game 2 was dead. Game 1, dead. Game 2 in particular until, Bryce and Nick did their thing. But other than that, it was fucking quiet as shit in the bank. Red October, I don't think they cared about Red October. Once those first 3 innings went by, the Phillies swinging and missing in the dirt, the crowd dies down, and then it's just a regular ball game. And then that's where the Mets get dangerous. If you keep the Mets around with a 1-2 run lead for 6 innings, that 7th and 8th inning, they're gonna bite you in the ass, and they did. They did hard. I don't know whether it was the 6th or the 7th, but Lindor, he did what he did. He went yard with bases loaded. I mean, I'm angry with myself that after that home run, I still sat there to watch the game in hopes that we were going to do something. Oh, and also, this whole third baseline Alec Boehm hit, is that really going to win us the game? No, come on. It was 2 outs. It was 2 outs. Yeah, we were driving a run in there, but all right, what's that? 4-2 now in the 8th with JT Realmuto, who hasn't done shit. The only thing he almost did was throw out the runner at second, but Trey Turner dropped the ball. That's not on JT, but he didn't do much, especially at the plate. He went over. So if you're saying the season on the line, 8th inning, down 2 runs with a runner on, JT Realmuto's the guy at the plate, get Estevez back out on the mound because the inning's over. Might as well just throw in the towel and say, we're pitching. Why waste the at bat? When Lindor went yard, it was over. I mean, obviously, but there was just so many situations in this game where we could have taken over. Runners on first and second, no outs. Harper with a awful at bat. Awful at bat. You're the guy in that moment. We gave you had it. That was the moment that I was talking about earlier. We needed the moment from him. He had a moment. He didn't have the moment. You hit a 3-run shot there. You hit a double in the gap, scores 2 runs. You get this lineup, maybe some juices flowing in the lineup. Nick Castellanos comes up after that, drives in a single, scores you. We got a tie ball game. That might have been before, actually. But either way, it eventually would have been tied. We still would have 4 runs. So whether it came in – and then, hey, if it was before, sorry I'm fucking up the box score here, but maybe that just kills everything, and then the Phillies walk out 4-0 or something like that. And, hey, we're playing tomorrow night in Philly that, the Mets don't care about. But and the fact that I got to see this fat purple piece of shit grimace all over my screen, it's awful. It's disgusting. What watching this series made me sick. Just the swinging in the dirt, the piss poor play in the field. We booted. I can't even count how many balls. Sosa booted 2. Trey almost booted 2. Thanks to Bryson Stott, somehow went Odell Beckham prime OBJ, and the bullpen just couldn't get it done. The bullpen couldn't save you for shit. And Jeff Hoffman staying in that game that late, Topper, what the fuck are you doing? Take him out. He's hitting batters, can't find the strike zone. He's pitching damn near in the grass before home plate. He can't find it. He doesn't have it. He's scared shitless. He's shitting himself sitting on the mound. Get him out, Topper. Topper, I was a fan of Topper before this series. He gave me a lot of question marks post-series now. The lineups that he was throwing out, granted, he was working with what he had, but Game 3, you don't play Stott. You play Alec Boehm, and hey, Alec Boehm's my favorite player on this team. I'm a Boehm guy, thick and thin, but not with what he was giving you. Especially not with Stott. He tied the game up with the triple in Game 2. He didn't have a great year, but he caught lightning in a bottle there. Who says he's not going to do in Game 3? And Sosa, why is he playing second? I'd rather him at third, where he played the majority of the year, where he played very well at the majority of the year. It was a defensive liability at second or at third. Either way, Sosa was not good this series either. But no one was on this team. No one was on this team. And they beat us. We lost this series to the New York Mets. We couldn't hang. If a person who doesn't watch baseball watch this series, they'd say, how'd this Philly team even make it this far? How did they even sniff the playoffs? I don't blame you, because watching that series, I was thinking it too. And I watched, 85, 90% of the games this year. But we knew it was coming. We knew that was going to happen. We've seen this story before. We've seen the third year around now. There has to be change. This offseason, I think, is going to be a crucial time for this Phillies organization. I hope we make the changes. I think we will. But I thought we were going to do stuff at the deadline too, but we didn't. I think guys got to go. To me, if I'm, Dombrowski, untouchables on offense. Bryce, obviously. Trey, just because of the contract, and he's got it there, Trey. Not that he's going to be money every time, but he's got it. He's a great ball player. Field, not so much, but he still can give you something. Castellanos, I can't believe I'm even saying that. But I think he looked like he figured it out a bit this year, especially obviously in the playoffs. Over, 400? Bryson Stott, because I think he's there. He's too young, and he's there's so much potential with Stott. Just give him the time. He's already showed you what he can do. I think you keep him. And Kyle Schwarber. He's just the presence, and he's going to give you 40 tanks, but 35 maybe if he goes down a little bit. But still, other than that, the phone's open. Boom. Phone's open. Marsh, phone's open. Rojas, but I don't know who's calling for him. Open. Anyone except for those like 4 guys. Let's talk. Prospects. Let's talk. You want some prospects of ours? What do you got? Because the window's with Bryce. The window is with Bryce Harper, and we got maybe 2 to 3 more years of MVP caliber Bryce Harper here. Schwarber ain't getting any younger. Trey ain't getting any younger. You got Stotties. I get Castellanos for sure ain't getting younger. And I'm taking a flyer on not picking up the phone for Castellanos. He could just give you another shit season, but I don't think he will. The starting rotation I'm fine with. I don't see any problems there. Wheeler's Wheeler. Nola, he didn't have a great game 3, but for what it was worth, he did good, and we just signed him, so he ain't going nowhere. Suarez, he's for what he is, he's great. And then Sanchez coming out of nowhere this year just gets signed too. So I like Sanchez. I like our rotation. The bullpen, you thought it was good in the regular season, and they came up minuscule. Quiet as hell in the postseason. Free agency, you got to add someone. If Soto wants to talk, give him what he wants. Now, that's above my pay grade, obviously, about how you figure that out. But figure it out. Figure it the fuck out and get that guy in a Phillies uniform. There was too many ways I feel like you could have avoided to where we're at right now. But we're here. And it's not fun. Because what hurts most is I can't watch Phillies baseball until, preseason, right? Spring training, but I'm not watching. I'll watch a few games, but, April, May. And I got to watch these goddamn New York Mets. Who knows? They might just fuck around and go all the way. Because they got talent. Mets have talent. Not as much talent as they showed against the Phillies, but they have talent. Mark Vientos kid. Holy shit. What kind of a run's this kid on? He could go. He could take this team the whole fucking way. Alonso, he could tank a few more times. Why not? Brandon Nimmo, played great against us. But so did everyone. Everyone got on base for them. Everyone hit the ball. Everyone walked. Everyone took pitches. Their pitching staff shut us down, which wasn't hard. You throw it outside the zone, they're going to swing. We didn't adjust. We didn't make any changes. It wasn't hard to figure out the game plan of this team. I don't know how you address that in the offseason. Like, if you want to keep this team, how you coach guys out of that. I don't know how you do that. And if that's, a Topper thing, just not even addressing it, which I'd find that very hard to believe that Thompson didn't talk to the guys once about it. But something's got to change. You cannot go into the 2025 season with this lineup. Johan Rojas cannot be your starting center fielder going into next season. If you want to keep him on the bench, that's fine. Rotation guy on an off day for a stud guy, a real center fielder who can, hit home runs and actually get on base and hit the ball. That's fine. I'll set him on the bench. extra innings game if we need the speed or something like that. Yeah, throw him out. Marsh, same thing. I'm a Marsh guy. I love Brandon Marsh. It's the whole daycare thing, but the daycare is not there anymore. They grew up and they turned out to be little pieces of shit. The daycare's done. There's one kid that might have blossomed, maybe two. I'm not done on Bohm yet. Stott's there. Stott's great. He's a great little kid. But Bohm, it hurts me with Bohm because of what he produced. Bohm was MVP talkings first half of the year. He was going to doubles machine. He couldn't – every game he had a double, 2 doubles. And maybe it was the hand injury. He says he's not making excuses, but I didn't like his answers either. He didn't sound confident in anything. He didn't sound like he sounded like a little spoiled brat. I didn't like that. And then, think about the whole I fucking hate this place and now this. He just looked like he was throwing a temper tantrum the whole time. Didn't like how he was being treated. Then play better. Don't blame other people. Blaming guys on the bench for, going to second. Play better then. If you're going to get fucking angry at someone, get angry at yourself. Castellanos did it. Whole CBP mocking him. Cheering when he lays off a pitch. You know what the hell he does? He tanks the next at bat. Then he hits a walk-off single to tie up the series that you weren't a part of. Because you stunk up the joint so bad. Something's got to change. This lineup's got to change. This is not a championship-winning lineup, obviously. But I don't think it needed to get to here to realize that. I think that we've realized that, or we should have realized that at the deadline. If you were this hell-bent on bringing in a championship to Middleton's office, as Bryce said, Bryce should have had a say in this too. As much as you want to be the great, locker room loving guy, I love my boys. You got to win a ring, because we're getting to the point now where Harper could be one of the greatest players to never win a ring. I don't think anybody wants that, especially him. He'll have some say though. I don't have any doubts on that. He's going to have some say of what he already said in his post-game presser last night. There's going to obviously be some guys who walk out this door, but that happens every offseason. No, roster stays the exact same 2 years in a row. That's in any sport though. But I think it needs to be drastic. It needs to be drastically different from what we had this past week and this past season. All right. That's my thoughts on it. We're going to see how this goes. We're also going to see how this goes. It's kind of spur of the moment thing. It's kind of what I want to do with my life, so I'm figuring, fuck it, let's roll with it. This is mainly going to be an Eagles thing. I'm going to the game this weekend against the Browns. I'll give my thoughts on that if this, if ever takes off or whatever. But like, subscribe, share if you're watching this far somehow. Follow on Twitter at BrotherlyJawn. Yep. Let's get some change in Philly, because this team ain't it. So yeah.